Alright guys, how you doing? It's Rabea. I hope you're all well. So, as you may know, I have worked with a really cool amp company called Revv Amplification in the past. I have a Revv generator down there. I use this Revv D20 quite a lot as well since they brought it out, and generally they just make great pedals, great amplifiers, really nice guys based out in Canada. And when I did the demo of the Revv D20, they also sent the Revv G2 pedal in the box. And basically they released a G series of pedals which essentially reflect the different channels of the generator amplifier. So you have, the first one was the G3 that came out, and that was to replicate the third channel, the sort of overdrive channel. Then they did the G4, which was the red channel, and then they brought out the G2, which is essentially the crunch channel, or the lowest gain channel before clean. So they asked me if I'd make a video about G2, so this is a sponsored video. We're going to be looking at the G2. I have been using it a lot actually since it came with the D20. It's actually a really good matchup with that amplifier. But for the sake of experimentation, I've got the D20 on a clean, so you can hear it against a clean. It's a 6v6 power section, 20 watts. And then I'm going to use the Kraken as well, which is EL34 power section on like a little bit of a crunch, so you can hear how that reacts with the amplifier. On top of which, I've got like a Strat, I've got my JP15 and a Baritone, so we can listen to different guitars. Hopefully, you know, something contemporary, something vintage, and then just something for the sake of it. So yeah, let's get into it. So I've got my Strat, we'll start there with a clean. Just to take a quick look at the pedal, if you've seen the G series before, it should look familiar. Along the top we've got our EQ, and then along the bottom we've got volume and gain with a three-way toggle switch, which turns on the blue or the red drive mode, which on the generator amplifier, it's like an aggression mode. You have a blue and a red, which just adds another gain stage or another clipping stage, if you want to call it that. Essentially gives you more gain. If you hear any reverb and delay, it's coming from the Universal Audio Apollo X8P interface using the Capital Chambers reverb and a Galaxy Tape Echo. Okay, here's the Strat straight into the D20. Okay, so let's try, everything's at 12 o'clock, the drive clipping toggle switch is in the middle, so this is how it sounds at everything at 12. So with everything at 12 o'clock, no drive added to that, just straight into a clean. It's really nice. It's the feel of it's really easy to play. It's what I always say with like drive and overdrive pedals and things like that is, you know, it's about the way it compresses and the way that it reacts to the touch, the way you play the guitar. Some of them, you know, get it right easy, some of them don't, and this is one that does. Anyway, so that's everything at 12 o'clock. I think it sounds great. So let's let me show you the clipping stages first, the drive modes, blue and red, so we can hear how they affect that. So this is without them. And let's throw it into blue, which is the first stage, and red is the second stage. And then red. It's good. It's really good, and it's a nice amount of difference between none and then all of it. So let me do it in quick succession. So this is the start, blue, red. So back to back they're quite subtle, but what I do notice is that it's more about the dynamic that you play in. So even on red, which is the highest, if I play soft, it's dynamic, so that's really nice. The way it's voiced just allows you to play soft and heavy. It's not over compressed, but it's enough that you can get that nice response. So really digging that. So anyway, let's take that out, and let me just show you the EQ and the range of gain, and then we'll move on. What's nice is that even on nearly full gain, it's still not as much as there is on the red with the gain at halfway. So you've got a nice sort of amount of gain in the spectrum to play with. So let's hear full gain in blue and red. Yeah, I really like that. So the amount of gain that you get out of it, it's not a high gain pedal, but there's enough there, gives you that kind of powerful sort of rock, hard rock sort of sound. Really nice, especially with a Strat. Thing is, if you wanted to get lots of sustain and for a lead out of that, you'd either blend it with your amplifier, crunch channel, or overdrive, or add something else to mix in with that. But as a voicing for like a crunchy overdrive kind of sound, it's really nice, easy to use. Quickly on the EQ. It's nice. You pulling out the mid-range, you can, with the gain on full, you actually clean it up, especially on like neck pickup and more sort of bassier tones. You can even pull out a bit of the bass. Let's push into blue mode, see how that handles it. I mean, that is a demonstration enough that the pedal's great, in my opinion, but for the sake of experimentation, I'm going to sort of up the ante with the gain, so I'm going to swap over to the Kraken, grab some humbuckers, and we'll just see where we can take this pedal. I'm wondering if it will go into that sort of pushed, fuzzy territory, so let's try that. Okay, so I've just grabbed the JP15. I was about to swap to the Kraken, and I had a quick strum with the G2 on this clean channel, and it sounded really good, so I thought I'd show it really fast. So if you're using a humbucker into a clean channel, this is the kind of sound you'll get. I'll just grab the pick I just dropped, and this is how it sounds. It's obviously driven because it's a humbucker. This is at 12 o'clock. Sounds really good. I'm going to boost the gain, going to add a bit more treble, pull out a bit of mid, and I'm going to put the blue aggression mode on. Check it. So you can hear, especially for rock rhythm and sort of a lowish gain lead sound, it's fantastic as it is. But let's move to the red and boost the gain just a bit more. How about this? So even on a clean aggression switching, gain boosted with humbuckers, you can get, you know, highish gain rhythm lead tone. I'd say that it's the tiniest little bit of sustain lacking for proper like intense leady high gain stuff. But all that being said, you can get a ton of tones out of this with just a clean channel. Let's move over to the Kraken. Okay, we're on to the Kraken. The gain is literally just above 9 o'clock. So it shouldn't be tons, but obviously we're using higher output humbuckers here. This is how it sounds. So it's already pretty crunchy, pretty driven. But either way, let's have a listen, see what happens when you dial it in with a crunch. I generally like to do this with overdrive and distortion pedals. I think you get a fuller spectrum of sound for me, but you can overdo it, and I'm sure we can overdo it. But let's just have a listen straight in at 12 o'clock. sounds great just at 12 o'clock. So first things first, let's do the whole clipping thing. Blue mode. It's just added a bit more presence at the top, a little bit more girth. So even just adding the blue drive clipping stage in, I haven't touched the controls yet and it just sounds absolutely awesome. So let's throw on to red now. Wonder where we're going to start hearing too much. Getting lost in riffage. It's huge, sounds great. Everything at 12 into the Kraken, everything's at 12 on the Kraken as well, set for the gain. This is great. So all the way through without touching the pedal, just in front of a crunch, EL34, sort of a low crunch as you heard. This is it before, once again. And then 12 o'clock but on the red clipping stage. So it's just like, it's obviously got a huge spectrum depending on what you put it in front of. So lastly, let's just mess around with the baritone, see how filthy we can get it and see what happens. But yeah, loving this pedal. Okay, got the baritone. This is the first prototype. I really love this guitar. I used it all over the Tosca record. Just haven't used it in a while. So anyway, it's got an aftermath in the bridge, bare knuckle. So it's pretty high output. On that crunch, I haven't touched the amp. It's a little bit of crunch. Here we go. I mean, that's already hella gain. All right, here we go. Everything at 12, no clipping stage. So I wouldn't say it's exactly a metal chugging sound at this, but it's aggressive and it sounds wide open, so great for big chords. Sounds massive, so I reckon I can, just from using the blue and the red, we can get into chuggage territory. So here comes blue. it's still, let's go red, see what happens. Back off some bass, push the gain a tiny bit of treble, back off some mids, what happens? Now it's bottoming out, you can hear it's just a bit flubby. But to be fair, single note stuff could be cool. I think on a baritone, with it being so much low end, it's not happy, but I'll tell you what, why don't we put it back on blue, boost the gain, take out more low end. How about now? Nope. How about now? Okay, so without the bass, it's losing a bit of that clarity and too much gain, I think. Okay, let's push the front of the amp, the level. How about now? Get in there. A little bit erratic on chords, but chugging. I mean, let's be honest, this is supposed to be the crunch channel of the generator, and I'm put it through its paces with different guitars, different channels, you know, trying to mess with the EQ, trying to get something out of it that it's not necessarily designed for, but it can do it. Like all these things, it really depends on what you mix it with, how you use it, and how you know, just spend time with it and get used to trying to dial different settings in for different sounds. So there we go, there's a look at the Revv G2 pedal. As normal on this channel, I like to find pedals and put them through their paces and try different things. I'm really happy with this. I think it's a great sounding pedal. Using it in front of a clean, you can get some great hard rock tones. As soon as you put it in front of a crunch, you can go into the sort of high gain rhythm territory with some great lead sustain. And the thing is with Revv, I know they make great stuff and I use it a lot already, so this was just nice to sort of dive in deep with this particular pedal, which I hadn't had a lot of chance to do, but I know where I could use this in the studio now. I know what it's good for. Great wide open chords when you're blending it with a crunch, lots of sustain for lead, and then with something like a Strat or something like an old Les Paul into a clean, you're going to get that like classic rock to hard rock kind of breakup. So yeah, fantastic, nice and versatile, looks great too. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you to Revv for sending this pedal across. I'd like to know what you think in the comment section below. Links in the description box. I've been Rabea, and I'll see you all very soon.